Hello there, this is Big Benedict. We're playing Dead Space on Impossible difficulty, and this is my PC guide for the aforementioned title. We're playing on the hardest difficulty, and this is Chapter 9 of 12, and it is entitled Dead on Arrival. So, we are going into the ship that crashed into us in the previous chapter. It's a very, very interesting level. I think the enemy that we're going to encounter is called a Twitcher, but I'm not sure about that. It's an enemy whose stasis unit has fused into their body and has ironically made them speed up. I'm not sure how it's supposed to work because usually stasis, the enemy slows down. So I like this level. It's another one of my favorites, to be sure. So when you come out here, you're gonna have another similar conceit that we had in chapter 7, where you're using the kinesis gun to drag projectiles and throw them in different places. So the first thing we're gonna do is stomp on I don't know what you'd call those, the glass jars, tubes. I don't know what they do. It looks like they open that hatch. It's what they do. And then what's going to go on now is that you're going to have some lurkers coming, lurkers and leapers, I believe. You get both. Yep, there he is right there. So just get on these guys very quickly, and by the end of this chapter, I'll have my stasis module upgraded all the way too. If anyone would like to clarify the energy aspect of it, I think what it does, in addition to giving you more from the modules on the walls, is that I think it takes less energy to use. Either that, or the burst that it does encompasses more area when you're depending on the splash damage. I don't know what it is. I've looked all over the internet. Nobody wants to clarify it. So you gotta love this real-time accessing of the menu. And I'm not putting the game down. It's wonderful. This game, it runs at 120 frames per second. I think that's going to depend on your rig though. But I have a brand new video card, and both Fraps and Shadowplay, my GPU's software, the video capturing software that the video card has, it is also telling me it runs at 120 frames too, but it drops in half when you start recording. So nothing's definitive. Just know that it runs at a very high frame rate, and even though we had to take the VSync off, somebody wrote in and told me that you can use the NVIDIA control panel to put the VSync back on, and it doesn't sacrifice the loading times. So if you want to do that, just find the NVIDIA control panel, put it back on, and it won't affect the game. It's really nice. So I want to thank that user who wrote in to tell me that, because I would not have known to do that. So down here, just replenish your kinesis, or your oxygen as needed, and then when all the enemies are cleared, you're going to be able to finish throwing these projectiles in here. If you want to, the point at which we launched ourselves down here, you could actually stand up there if you want to, but the enemies, or the leapers, are going to come to you anyway. So you know, you might as well just come down here. It's not too hard. I don't even think I took any damage on this entire level. So it's, I don't know. And that is pretty annoying too, to not be able to reach what you want with the kinesis module. So I'm gonna have to look into upgrading that, because it is quite annoying. So what's happening is that the ship won't open its doors out of some kind of a safety mechanism with pollutants in the air. The pollutants being those large green spheres. And this chapter, it does have one fight that somebody was asking that they needed help on, and I understand that because it has been a tough fight for me in the past, but I just did it and I didn't even take any damage, and it was pretty damn simple. There's the foreshadowing of that enemy right there. I'm not disparaging the person who was writing in needing help, because hell, we all need help on certain areas, but when you've played this game 3 or 4 times like I have, and you know the game pretty well, and how to control these enemies. I should have gone for a no damage run, and I'm not saying that I could have done that, but I haven't been healing hardly at all, so. Okay, so this room here, you're going to be introduced to the Twitcher in a minute.
The infection process is doing something strange.
All you need to do is move these things with the kinesis module. There will be a point when we're moving some heavy objects in a furnace area, and I will show you how to do that because it's very precise. So over here is some plasma energy. Just look around there. There's, when you enter this room, there's the hatch of a ship that's blown open. There's some plasma energy in there. Just look around. That will usually give you a lot of stuff. They hide stuff all over these maps. So when you come over here and move this over here, you're going to have the introduction that you've been dreading. You see that the way they strafe? Very, very tricky to deal with this enemy sometimes, because they will strafe and hit you. So sometimes doing it no damage can be pretty tough, actually. So what is this enemy? It's just a faster slasher, in my opinion. See, they do that strafe. I think that's the defining characteristic of them. Added to the fact that they're very quick and they have more HP than a slasher, but they're very similar to that enemy. So that's the third one down. Don't touch those areas in the floor that are cracked, because you'll perish instantly. But now what we're going to do is move a couple of these. And anytime you want to go back to the store, feel free. This game is incredibly flexible with the ways in which you can move throughout the world. I mean, you can't go all the way back and ride the tram to wherever the hell you want to. I do want to point this out because I mentioned John Tarr's guide in the previous video, John and Dan's guide that they did, God knows how long ago. It was a really good guide, but the fight in the large room, you'll know what it is if you've played the game. He was suggesting that you lure these enemies into these pits here, and you are required to do that for some of the achievements, but it's not a good strategy because they very seldom will go in those. They'll just go right around it. The ones that usually get hit are the lurkers. But like back when I was needing help for a section like that, I came across his advice about that, and it just seemed ridiculous because it was completely unhelpful. I mean, his advice was literally to run around the room, not even shoot, and have the enemies getting killed. And I just think it's bad advice. My advice is just to stand back, use the stasis, and shoot the hell out of the enemies that are coming. I didn't take a single scrap of damage. How many times did it take me? It took me 2 times. And I'm not saying I'm the best player ever, but we're upgrading, so why not upgrade in the smartest manner possible? The stasis is invaluable. The speed of the gun is invaluable. The damage parameters are very helpful.
Isaac, I'm tracking your position, but it doesn't look like I can reach
Okay, so there's not going to be a store until after that fight that I was mentioning it. There's several save points though, and over here what I'm going to do is, since smashing the bodies doesn't seem to have the effect that I want, what I'm going to do, since once you interact with the elevator, you're going to have the inhabitors come down. I forget what they're called. I don't know what the hell they're called. I was going to say inhalers. Infectors, something like that. You're going to have two of them drop down in here, and their job is to infect the corpses on the ground. In Dead Space 2, you can smash the bodies, but it just doesn't work as well in this game. So just put the bodies out of the room. Simple as that. And they will have nothing to infect. Infectors, I think that's what they're called. Goddamn inhalers. So once you access that, they're going to drop in, and they go right for the bodies, but with no bodies, they're just going to go right for you. So just back off into the corner, stasis them. And what I'm going for is actually the hand area of them. I'm trying to hit the thinnest part of their bodies, since that seems to be the most limb-like appendage that they have. And I got a couple of shitty drops. Great. Those are the least valuable things you can collect, the pulse rounds. Okay, so now a couple of interesting sections in this game actually. So here's one of the scientists that we'll meet up in a later chapter. After that long elevator ride, you're going to come up here. A couple of these pilots are trapped too, and you'll see some ammunition by them if you look closely. And oh, okay, I forgot all about this. I did this last night on my first attempt. Okay, here's a divider, and we've got some exploders. So exploders and dividers. What I wanted to do was to stasis the divider and hit the exploders near where the immobile divider was positioned after being stasised, and it actually did work. But I had to do a lot of legwork afterwards, as far as clearing up all the appendages that come loose when you kill that enemy. But anyway, this used to give me a big problem, this shooting gallery over here, but I did it on my first try. And you know, even though I'm happy to say that, I don't wish anything other for you guys than to also do it on your first try. But I want to include it here because not only is it a trophy / achievement, that you can get, but it's also the best way to do it is to because Isaac will get in the way actually of some of the targets. So as much as I hate first-person mode, hugging this particular wall right here is the best way to have the most visibility. So there are 5 rounds, and from what I believe, you cannot hit any of the blue targets. They might give you a little bit of leeway, but it's pathetically easy actually. And the nice thing is you have the ammunition that you're using is not your own, so they give you infinite ammo. And the even better thing is that you don't have to reload ever. You'll see the sign for infinity on his gun right there. So the reason I don't hug the left wall is because his body will get in the way. This is the best way, and I discovered this quite by accident a long time ago. It provides you the clearest unobstructed view, because the third-person view actually gets in the way. So round 2 is hitting, I think, 1200, so you've got to hit 12 of them. And I can't remember if you are allowed to miss. I don't think you are. But the nice thing is, once you clear a round, it will save. So we're on level 3. So for instance, if you get to level 5 and you fail, you don't have to go all the way back to level 1, which I really appreciate. And after each round, you'll get a small prize. and the prizes are pretty poor, except when you finish the final 2 levels, then you'll get some really good stuff. There's even basketball in this game, some kind of a variant of basketball I remember in the end of day section, which is coming up. Very interesting stuff. I just think something like this in this game is just incredibly wonderful to have something like this in this game. But the targets are going to speed up a little bit now. I mean, they do incrementally speed up, but I think this is the round that will start to give you a little bit of trouble. But I'm telling you, this is the best place to stand. It's so helpful. And you don't even have to waste your own ammunition, and no reloading is so helpful. So I think we have to get, what, 1600? Yeah. Okay. So I think we get a semiconductor, a ruby semiconductor, and then now if we complete level 5, you'll get I think a crack shot achievement is what it's called, and you'll also get a power node. And conveniently enough, there's a bench over here to use that power node if you so desire. There are no node doors in this chapter, so you don't want to waste those. But incredibly simple. I was using my controller, not the mouse and keyboard. And now we're gonna go save our data. So I've left this in here just to show you what I've upgraded, so I don't have to leave any more notes. So I've upgraded the plasma cutter all the way. Now I'm going to finish up my HP upgrades for the rig, and I'm also going to finish up on the stasis. I wish it would actually tell you what it meant by energy. Duration is pretty clear in my opinion, it's very obvious, but energy, have a descriptor there, it would really clarify things. So don't waste your stasis, because there's a module out here that you can use, because you'll need it in here. But what I honestly think is that it takes a little bit less stasis from your availability of it. So this thing, all you need to do is aim your gun at the device, preferably when it's aimed to the right over there, and you can make your way over here. I don't think there's any enemies over here until you clear the room. And I don't know where the checkpoint lies either. I don't think you get a checkpoint over here. But what you're going to have is several exploders and possibly another twitcher. Yep. They arrive very quickly right next to you. But they have no time to recover from their stupor, which is really nice. And I think the one thing that, like I've mentioned before, the sound design in this game is so spectacular that you're really not even handicapped by the fact that the camera is pulled so close to the character, and that it is in third person, so that you can't see as much with that over the shoulder perspective. Here's another node, don't forget that. Okay, so we're going to save our progress, and we're going to go into that room, which is troublesome, but trust me, you can handle it. Okay, so the first enemy that's going to greet us is the pregnant. And I was actually quite surprised that none of the enemies really cut you off here. They just go directly to you. They don't try to go around and go to the side of you too much. So all I can say here is that it's really difficult without a dedicated button for the stasis to actually go to your menu and use the stasis before the twitchers. I mean, if you see a twitcher and you don't have stasis, there's just not enough time to use to activate the menu. So what I would say is that don't use the stasis until you see the twitcher. So for those first enemies, the leaper, the pregnant, and some of the lurkers. Just hit them all with as many bullets as you possibly can, and then when you see the lurker or the twitcher running at you, just drop the stasis. You'll have plenty here. And like a room like this, it used to really challenge me, but where's the challenge? Just keep shooting, and there should not be any problem here. And I don't mean to sound like somebody, who's a know-it-all and who's extremely good at this game. I'm fairly competent. You see something like that, but if you have the reflexes, the stasis will do the rest for you. But what John Tarr was suggesting, you can watch his video if you want to. It's not hard to find it. Well, he said that don't waste any bullets here. Just run around the room, and I'm telling you, just try that. And try to make the enemies get killed in these wells. I mean, it might get lucky for you at once, but I mean, that whole room, I cleared it. No damage, and it was simple. It was very simple. So I just think that's it's bad. I think it's bad advice. And Lord knows I've given bad advice before too. I'm not the authority on everything, but I clearly remember trying to do his strategy a long time ago, and it just not working at all. He probably was out of bullets. That might have been what the thing was. But sometimes I know this is kind of an odd thought that people will chastise me for even thinking about it, but sometimes in these games when I'm being so conservative with everything, and I'm doing well, and I'm not using things, like towards the end of the game, like even when I was playing The Evil Within, I thought to myself, like, the game isn't easy. Excuse me. The game isn't hard because I have so much stuff, but the thing is, I've worked hard to get here, and I've done well, and hadn't had to use much. So it's one of those things where it's like self-condemning. But I do need to talk about this here. What happens here is that if you're using the kinesis module on this thing right here, and you release it, and if there's any distance in between you and this object right here, right in front of you, and the fire is going off, you're gonna get burned, and twice and you're dead. So you just want to be hitting those things, waiting, just push it very, very gently forward, and then run to it. Just do the sprint to it by holding the left bumper. But it is very precise, because it will actually move a little bit away from you when you release it, so you have to be standing right next to it to not get burned. So once those 3 glass cases are destroyed, you just want to move this thing back very carefully, methodically. And then we're going to do the same thing over here, although this time we don't have to drag it. I don't think there were not any pipes. On the other side there were pipes right in the way. So see what I'm doing? I'm releasing it, and then I'm running towards it. Just move it, release, and then just kind of walk or run right towards it. And then I think these control the flames. And our goal is the center middle. There's some object we need, and you can't just approach it, because it will do a blast and you'll perish. I mean, get a drink of water. Where is my water? It's out of reach, out of sight. There it is. I don't even know what that was, but it's okay. And this brute fight down here, I just must have played this game a lot, and I'm sorry. I don't want to sound like somebody who's a know-it-all. I hate those people, And maybe hate's a bad word, but nobody, when you're struggling, you don't like to hear from people that something's easy, because you only wish it was easy, you know? But I'm trying to just give you guys confidence about this. Oh, I missed that thing in the back. But we're gonna get a diamond semiconductor from this kill here, and it's a heavy duty brute. As you can see there, it's a very infected one, and we're gonna play a game of tossing back the projectiles he sends at us once we get him down to a certain amount of damage. It doesn't always occur like that, but I did want to showcase it just so that you guys know. It's pretty much the same conceit as the vomiters in the second game. You just, you know, when they vomit at you, you can throw it back. It was one of the that was the funniest thing I've ever found out in a game like that. But the most I've ever learned from a guide was from somebody called Wolfwood. I think a long time ago. He did a heavily annotated guide, a very high quality guide, and I also, if you remember, I said I did one too, because I wanted to do the project, but I didn't really have the means to put my voice on it, or the knowledge, or the experience, so I put annotations on just like him. But anyway, this guy is going to release those energy balls. I don't know what the hell they are. Just throw them back. They actually kind of freeze right in front of you for a second, allowing you ample time, and then just put him down here. I find that shooting him on his back of his leg, deals the most damage. Kind of strange. That position wounds him the most. Maybe it doesn't, but this thing is very valuable. I think it's 25,000 cash-in value. But I remember, like, not even being able to, can I even talk? Not even hardly being able to beat this level a long time ago. And now I'm running through it, no damage. I don't even think I took any damage except for like this over here, because my greed got the best of me and I was just impatient. Yep, I'm actually gonna go for it. So I think that's the only part in the chapter I got damaged. So the thing is, you don't need an overpowered suit like I thought, you know, way back when. And the other reason that I've been so penitent in these guides is because I want it to be an honest representation of the struggles of somebody playing it, you know, with this suit, with the parameters that I've set forth. And I just don't want to, I didn't want to taint it by using the cheat code a couple of times. So I'm telling you, it wasn't compromised, because I've tossed out far more than I used in those codes. The only code I ever used was just to regenerate the stasis. And if you've ever played Dead Space 2, it regenerates anyway. So I know it's not the same, you know, it's not the same game. But they obviously felt the need to fix that issue in the second game. So here's a runner for you right here. Unexpected. See him strafe? Son of a bitch. You son of a whore. Now you're going down. So that's the end of the chapter. Exciting and fun, and not as hard as you remembered it. Take care.